Hi, it's Ronald off the record. I am a lawyer analyzing entertainment that I really enjoy. And today I'm going to analyze the Stranger Things teaser trailer for season 5. Hopefully, my analytical skills from my profession and my involvement in the fandom for Stranger Things will give you some nuggets to get hyped up over as we wait for November 26th. So I'm not going to play the audio in order to avoid copyright issues. We begin with the scene of Joyce talking to her son Will. They're alone, and she's talking about how she always thinks about that night he was abducted by somebody, in the very first episode of the series. So we've already been told by the creators that we're going to get answers as to what is the nature of the Upside Down. In season 4, we learned that Nancy's diary, the last entry, is the day that Will disappeared. There are pretty plausible theories out there that it wasn't the Demogorgon getting Will, but something more sinister, perhaps Vecna. Also, Will, a child, for him to have survived for several days. Oh, there's my cat Megan. We're not given an answer to that, why he was able to survive so long. One prevailing theory is that it was Vecna, and he pursued Will because he's been trying to collect supernatural powers from various people to collect for himself. Here's Megan. She's here. So them opening with Joyce saying this about the day Will was abducted means that we almost certainly will revisit that day in 1983. And one of the previous trailers showed footage of Will, what looks like a child Will, wearing the same outfit as he wore in the first episode, falling down from the sky. We might be getting flashbacks to Will's time in the Upside Down. Just like how in season 4, we got flashbacks of Eleven in the lab to learn more about the past. Like Elle, Will has dealt with a lot of trauma that might be affecting his memory. And then we get a lot of shots going from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, season 4, again emphasizing, building up hype that this is the final season. That will tie all of the threads together. Then we get the release dates. Volume 1 will be November 26th, Volume 2 will be Christmas Day, and the finale will be on New Year's Eve, and I'm really excited about that. I'm someone who prefers weekly releases of episodes. I like the collective experience of everybody speculating together what's going to happen next and getting excited. And here, there's going to be the second volume releasing during the holidays when a lot of families gather together. And the final episode, one episode, will be basically a worldwide event. That's going to be really cool to see all of the hype build for that and all of the speculating going on. Okay, and then we get a number of glimpses of season 5, and I'll pause for each one. Okay, Megan is getting too excited about my microphone. All right, first shot. This looks like okay, Joyce has an axe. It looks like they're in a stupid ads. I hate this. All right, I'm using Windows Paint so that I can actually focus on the picture, but it looks like they're in a barn. The next shot is going to be something. It looks like something's going to try to break through the door. It's kind of weird how she's the only one picking up a weapon. I wonder why the others aren't trying to do something to help. But we have Will here. That's definitely Will. And that looks like Robin on the right. And here, I believe this is Erica, because she is wearing purple, which one of the preview shots had Erica wearing purple. This person up here, I think, is Erica's friend. I found a preview shot. This matches that boy's outfit. So there's going to be some portion of the show where these people are grouped together. I really hope that Will gets to come out to Robin and Robin be a gay big sister. There's the shot of the door. Next shot is Holly and Karen, terrified, fearing for their lives, looking at something. There's light glowing on them. It's probably inside the Wheelers' house. And we know that the second episode is called The Vanishing of Blank. And it's been widely speculated that Holly Wheeler will be abducted by Vecna because they cast a new actress, someone who has more acting experience to play Holly's character. And they've said that they would return to season 1 themes. So having a young child be abducted would be a clear callback to the first season. And that's one thing I am excited about for this last season. I think the best and my favorite season is the first season. It was the most well done. And that kind of tone of intimate horror, I hope they get back to some of that and move away from some of the kind of reliance on spectacle that we see in the later seasons. Next, we have Lucas at Max's bedside. Definitely time has passed. Max's broken bones have healed. She's no longer in casts. The little drawing that they made at the end of season 4 is on the wall still. That's very cute. And there's a tape recorder, maybe to give her something to listen to, somehow communicate with her through her coma. Maybe a way to play Kate Bush in case she gets targeted. I don't know. Elle could not find Max at the end of season 4 in the mental void space. So that's one of the mysteries that needs to be answered this season. Next, we see Steve and Dustin, best friends, in the what looks like the Upside Down. So they're going to be teamed up this season, the classic duo. And I don't know if they've actually faced danger together as a pair before. My memory could be failing me, like alone. So there could be some intense. I think there's going to be a lot of, in season 5, moments where they're going to make you genuinely think this main character will die. Since it's the final season, Dustin losing Eddie is something he doesn't want to happen again. And also, there needs to be a way to resolve the Steve, Nancy, Jonathan triangle. And one clean way to resolve Nancy having to make a choice is to kill one of them off. Personally, I think a main character death is likely between Steve and Jonathan. Next, we see this shot of Hopper with Elle, who they're probably both on the run, given their circumstances at the end of season 4. Hopper supposedly died at the end of season 3, and the whole town had a funeral or some kind of ceremony for him. He's supposed to be dead, and for him to come back in Hawkins again would raise too many questions, and the government would want to interrogate him and so forth. He's probably in hiding, and also he has the scruffy beard probably to make his change his appearance. And Elle obviously is in hiding, being pursued still by the bad part of the government. So these two will be paired together. But what's interesting in this scene is Elle seems to be tortured psychically here. This doesn't just look like she's using her powers, but that Vecna probably is somehow getting in her mind. She's just used one of her powers. She has the nosebleed here. Now, this is interesting. This is a shot showing two people shining their flashlights at this gigantic wall of grossness. This is, what is this? This is like at least 50 feet high, 40 feet high. It's a wall. And I wonder what significance is, whether there is a border to the Upside Down, like it's maybe it's just Hawkins and there's a border around it. I don't know. But it also seems more, this bluish Upside Down space seems more constrained compared to that place that number 1 went to when Elle defeated him in the lab. It looked like there were vast open spaces, and that's where he saw the cloud monster. I've always wondered what that place is and whether that's different from this Upside Down version of Hawkins, and whether this is some kind of smaller demi-plane space that was created the night Will disappeared. As for who these two are, one is significantly taller than the other. If you ask me, that's Nancy, because she's kind of short. And I'm guessing Steve, because it seems like to be the shape of his hair, and he's quite tall. Future Ronald here. I've since seen online that people are quite confident that that's actually Elle and Hopper. So you can disregard. So this is now 2 groups of our heroes in the Upside Down. Maybe the gates opening in Hawkins means that it's easier to go back and forth. Maybe. Next, we have this shot with Mike protecting the kids. Looks like a few people Erica's age. And it's this is a really dark picture, but I'll brighten it. That is almost certainly Will right there in his mom's arms. So those of you who know me and my channel know that I'm a fan of the Byers ship between Mike and Will. And we have Mike risking his life to protect Will. Confirmed. Something has exhausted him, caused him to be kind of need help walking. It's possible, quite likely, that his psychic connection to Vecna is causing this. Maybe Vecna is torturing Will mentally the way he is doing to Elle. And of course, maybe the last shot of this trailer that you all know about is one of those instances. It also looks like Mike's taking a leadership role here. And Finn Wolfhard, his actor, has said in an interview that there are leader Mike moments this season. And A lot of fans have disliked his character in the last couple of seasons. The hero we knew in the first couple of seasons kind of receded, and it looks like we're getting a return to that, which would be awesome. And that Will's speech to Mike in the van, reminding him that he's the heart of the party, and Will's love for him, whether he knows it's romantic love or not, and his belief in Mike is having some role in bringing this character out of him. That's kind of awesome. Next, we get this shot of armed soldiers, and something is breaking out from beneath, and it's red, like the gates that opened up in Hawkins at the end of season 4. It looks like it was deliberately sealed. There are these things on the edges at regular intervals. I do wonder if this is something the government constructed to cover the gates that ripped through Hawkins. And here is something. Apparently there's a monster now trying to break out. And then, of course, we have this shot. And I've seen some comments online comparing this to him screaming at the Mind Flayer in Season 2. And I want to show that on the screen because it's going to set up something I want to say. So I've seen people comparing the two, but I want people to look at Will's expression here. It's terror. He's crying like a child. And he's desperately trying to make it leave. Now, I want you to look at Will's expression here, and you tell me what expression you see. I think what we see here is anger, rage, something, an ad. It's like something's trying to break out of Will, and he's desperately trying to contain it. And it's kind of like he's being possessed by something. Now, this, of course, is not out of left field and outlandish because we had a whole season 2, where him being possessed by the Mind Flayer was a whole arc. And we also saw that he could still interact with Joyce and Mike while being possessed, that the real Will was still there, but was increasingly not there, that there was an internal struggle. And that when they tied him to the chair and were trying to break through to the real Will was still able, even though he's almost completely possessed by the Mind Flayer, communicate in Morse code to close the gate. This looks like, okay, and then Will is saying to run, obviously to help his friends for their safety. And it almost seems like he's telling them to run away from himself, given there's something going on with him here. And we might get a proper villain arc for Will this season. Maybe. This is just speculation on my part. Because, okay, in Season 2, he gets possessed, but it wasn't really clear what that achieved for Vecna or the Mind Flayer. Apparently to serve as a spy, but it could have been a trial run for the real deal now. Now that Vecna has opened his gates into Hawkins and can directly affect things more effectively, he might be able to take full control of Will and either use Will's possible powers or use his own powers through Will. And we haven't had a main character turn evil, which is a very common trope in genre fiction. So this might be that, and it would be appropriate for a final season where Will is a central character. One of the episodes of this season is titled Escape from Camazotz, which is likely a reference to A Wrinkle in Time, where a main character gets possessed and is made to be part of a hive mind. All of this sounds very Vecna and Mind Flayer-y, and needs someone who loves him to break out of the possession. We'll see where this all leads. He may not go all out evil, but it seems to me that it's likely that he's going to be in a struggle to keep control over himself. And of course, as he screams, he looks terrified. That must be the real Will coming out. Some excellent acting by Noah Schnapp. I don't know where it was. I had read about this, but Noah consulted an acting coach for this season, apparently to prepare for the challenges, acting challenges he was going to have. And the Duffers sent the first 3 scripts to Noah Schnapp specifically to help him prepare for the season, to give him an idea of what his character was going to be going through. It's talked about in this Variety article on Noah coming out. We sent him the first 3 scripts for Season 5, Matt Duffer says. The Duffers took that risk because they wanted to prepare Schnapp for what lies ahead for his character in the 5th season. And then it goes on, really emphasizing that Will once again become a central character. Will really takes center stage again in 5, says Ross Duffer. This emotional arc for him is what we feel is going to hopefully tie the whole series together. Will is used to being the young one, the introverted one, the one that's being protected. So part of his journey, it's not just sexuality, it's Will coming into his own as a young man. So as a fan of Byler and a fan of the character, Will Byers, someone who I identify with being a gay man myself, this is really exciting stuff. Will is going to be put through the ringer again this season. And in the first 2 seasons, I know I wasn't the only one. There's an ad. Make sure to drink Paloma. I wasn't the only person watching season 2 thinking, leave Will alone, give him a break. And then in season 3, he has that whole thing of tearing down Castle Byers and his best friend treating him awfully and saying he should like girls. And then season 4, sacrificing his own feelings and giving up on his crush on Mike in order to help his and Elle's relationship. The audience has been made over and over again to want Will to be happy. This has all been set up for something in season 5 where his quest for happiness finds its resolution. And dealing with the trauma of being abducted and possessed and everything he's gone through. And that quote suggests that we might see a development where he's not simply a passive victim, but turns things around. I open talking about the possibility of Will having powers. Him sensing Vecna's presence is a supernatural power. I'm just going to put it out there. He already kind of does have powers, but to have cool L telekinetic-like powers, that is yet to be determined. But for some reason, the evil things in Hawkins have really focused on Will. They kidnapped him and possessed him. There's got to be a reason for that. We also have a flashback to Mike, Will, and Jonathan in 1979, which is the same year that everything happened at the Hawkins lab. Maybe there's some connection between Will and the goings-on with the kids in the lab. Maybe he was in the lab. We don't know. But that's another speculative possibility. All while dealing with his probable coming out arc in season 5, coming out to his mom, to Mike, and others. The fact that the trailer begins with Will and ends with Will emphasizes his central role this season. Also, random prediction, I think Will is going to die this season or offer himself up to die and try to make the ultimate sacrifice. And I don't think he actually will die, that he'll somehow live in the end. It's what his character would do. But yeah, I really wonder how the way things ended at the end of season 4, how they're going to deal with these big gates in Hawkins and how they get back to normalcy in Hawkins, because they do have school scenes, as we know from a previous trailer. Hopefully we'll get more previews, and I'll cover them as they come out to the extent I can. So that's my analysis of the teaser trailer. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, like it, and also subscribe to my channel where I'll probably post more videos covering the hype for Stranger Things and also the other shows and entertainment I enjoy. And I also will be posting my reactions to the season 5 episodes when they air. And also I have a Patreon. People who support my Patreon will have early access to many of my videos. If you like my take on things, definitely see my very long video on Byler, the Mike and Will potential relationship in Stranger Things. It's on my channel. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.